Okay guys, we're on the home stretch. I can smell the steaks in the background, can you? All right, here we go. So now we're going to put this all together and show you how it works when you put it all together. So what we want to use is a simplified accumulation annuity. There's certain things we're looking for. To maximize a withdrawal, we want to protect the downside. We want to make sure that no matter what the market does, we don't lose any money. We are then going to use our software to come up with the mathematically correct solution for the withdrawals based on your needs. So as we kind of mentioned here, all right, I happen to be married. So if I'm married and I have $100,000 in my CD, or my annuity, I can take out 5% or $5,000. Excuse me, if I'm single, I can take out $5,000. If I'm married, I can only take out $4,500. Why is that? I don't like that. So we're going to show you how to get rid of some of these. We're not going to use the rider on this particular thing. We're going to use our software and just tell you what you can take based on your life. As John was mentioning earlier, what if he lives to 79? Do we really need to plan his income out to 105? You don't need to do that. Maybe you can take more money up front. So what we want to look for, in the power of zero, let me back up to the second. So remember our first example I was showing you for the market was going sideways, how it kind of ate 5% right off there without us doing anything? So what if, instead of losing our 5%, if the account just never went down? What if, instead of this backwards and up and down motion, every time the account went down, we just got zero? And that's called the annual reset. So what happens when we do that? So if the market goes up 10, we get 10, and the market goes down 10, what happens? Nothing, right? So if we just replace the down years with zero, it's a huge difference. It's the difference between losing 5% and in this case, making 61%. Now, I don't expect us to have a 10% market every year, but that's the difference this makes. We have found that over time, if we never go backwards, we don't need huge gains if you just don't go backwards. So here's poor Joe. We got his last time, but now this time he's smart. Joe's learned his lessons now. He's been around the block. He knows what he's doing. So we're going to show you. He's got his $200,000. And he plans, just like we did in the previous example, we're going to take income out. We're going to take income out at age 70. We're going to have growth on this entire account. So this is our simplified accumulation product, and we're just going to have no fees on this. So there's no income rider, no cash drag. We're going to say he grows at 5% to age 70, and then he can start taking his withdrawals. We're going to have protection from this account. It won't go backwards due to market decline. And because of that, we're probably going to be able to give Joe a raise later in life. So let's just look at the numbers, how this works. So this is the same part. I think you guys get the idea. He's got $200,000. It's growing at 5% till we get to age 70. Now he's grown to $255,000. You remember from our previous example when we used the income rider, what that payout was? Yeah. Do you remember what he was getting for income after that? He was right. Grew to $260,000. Yeah, it was about $13,005, something along those numbers here. So what we're going to do now is we're going to use our calculation based on our conversation with you. Now, because we're running this against the other one, we're going to use the same scenario. But this is where if you're married, it doesn't make any difference. If we want to go long-term, short-term, we're based it on what you're looking for. So we can modify this to fit your needs, not everybody's needs, which the insurance company has no choice. They've got to plan on everybody. So if we put it into our calculator, and we're going to go to from 70 to 90, we're going to be able to pay out $20,482. So if we had $200,000, so we put in, we're going to take out $20,482 over that same 20-year time frame. What do we get? $409. See a difference? Which would you rather have? That's a 53% increase. Now, that doesn't happen all the time, but I will tell you, we run these reports all the time. I consistently see 20 to 30% gains in every product we run. If I was going to give you a 20% raise, who would show up tomorrow? This happens real consistently. Not everyone. Sometimes there's some good plans out there. We're not saying there can't be, but let's take a look at it. Let's look at those fees. Let's see what it really looks like, and let's see if there's possibly a better way. A lot of the strategies we have now are newer. They weren't around 5 years ago. So even if your advisor was right on the top of it, he might not have had these available. So once again, I want to hit on this. We're using what's called the simplified accumulation annuity, which is basically a fixed indexed annuities without the bells and whistles. We've stripped it down, we've made it very simple. If you have annuity already and you get your annual statement like John said, you'll see here's your account balance, here's your cash balance, here's your death balance. What's the real number? When you do it this, there's one number. What's my account value? This. What's my death benefit? This. What income can I take? It's right from this number here. It's one number, keeps it simple. We want to use uncapped strategies. This is where, 5 years ago, S&P, would you like the S&P or would you like the S&P? That was your choice. I think I'll take the S&P. That was your choice. They've broadened so much since then. We manage money as well. And some of these strategies are comparable with money managers that do this on hedge funds. What they're able to do now, it's great. And the insurance companies are allowing us to take advantage of this. And if we can have no fees and no losses and no risk, why would you not do that? We want high participation rates. As John mentioned earlier, we can easily find them with 70, 80, maybe 100% participation. Typically, no riders, no fees. Once in a while, that still makes sense. I won't say there's never a time for anything. Sometimes it makes sense to have a fee or a rider. It depends what your goals are. And then we want to protect that growth. Most importantly, I can't do this for my managed money clients. I wish I could tell them you're never going to lose a penny. You know how happy my clients would be? I can't tell them that. The market's going to go up and down, you're going to go up and down. We're pretty good at minimizing that, but I can't stop it. Still a moving target. Just to show you how far they've come, there's a guy named Jeremy Siegel, graduated at MIT, is professor at Wharton School of Business, and he manages a fund or helps consult on a fund. Here's what they do with their particular fund. They look at the top 500 equities. They're looking at the 4 most undervalued sector, and then they're investing their portfolio in those sectors. So they're looking for the biggest growth, and then they rebalance it monthly. This isn't the S&P or the S&P. This is a much more sophisticated, although it's still fairly simple, but it's a more sophisticated system that they're offering us that we can plug into. If you had done this particular plan, you would have averaged 5.73. That's pretty good for an investment that has the risk of a CD. And, if that market crashes, you're not in it. You're not participating in that. Wouldn't that be nice? So the market goes down, and that's not a concern of yours. Another one, so this gives you this is a newer index. It just got up. So what they've done here is given us the history over this. Since we don't know, I want to give you those numbers and show you how it works. So we don't know if you can put your money in January, February, March. So what they've done is give a little bit of a range here. If we put $100,000 into it, we could have, the best case scenario, we have almost tripled it, 282. Worst case scenario, we doubled it. That's pretty sweet. Remember how we talked about Melinda and Abigail? Do you think this might have helped Abigail out a little bit? If you didn't take those losses, especially in the beginning of her retirement, if we can hold on to these gains, it's important. Another one that we like is more of a global strategy. Check this out. So this particular fund would put 50% in the S&P. I'm just going to kind of click through this. It would put 30% in the Euro stock, and then it would put 20% in the Hang Seng. Had we known in retrospect, you ought to put 50% in the Hang Seng. But this gives you that, sophistication if you want to be more involved than just the S&P. And so it's 50, 30, and 20. So if you look at respectively what these would have returned to the client, would have been 9.7, 1.95, and 7.2. If you add that all up, that's 18, almost 19%. And this particular plan allowed us to participate 70%. So we were able to get 13.2% off a zero risk, I don't want to say investment, but it's a zero risk product. That's what it is. So they've come a long way. These are not your father's, it's not your father's annuity anymore. They have a lot more options here. So I'm going to let John wrap up here.
Okay, so our clients that come in kind of tell us, and it's not us talking, but it's kind of a no-brainer, really, to look and see how we could improve your situation or whatever it is that you're considering. So I've crunched the numbers in your retirement account, and it's time to figure out who'll be wearing the mask and who'll be driving the getaway car. That's the position that we don't want to be in. We don't want another 2008, 2009. We want to go up, up, and away. So you have two ways to win, no way to lose. Remember the page that I showed you? We've got 4 of these workshops going on, and we've scheduled set aside the next 3 days for this particular group. If one of those days don't work, talk to us and we'll be able to work around that. We want to identify and reduce your fees or increase your income, and we want to compare the newest alternatives that are in the marketplace. So if you'll do me a favor, we can either come to you or you can come to our office. We're right around the corner on Mason Road in the Co-America Bank building right there at Kingsland and Mason. Been there a long time. Just circle the days that are good for you or the times that are good for you. This will take about 15 to 20 minutes. That's all we're asking. If you stay longer than the 15 to 20 minutes, it's because you asked us to stay longer. Because we've identified some things that are in your portfolio or within ways that you can improve your situation. Our discovery process, remember, is identify and calculate your fees and charges. We want to calculate your returns before and after fees. And we also want to optimize and show you how we might be able to increase your current income situation by as much as 40%. Some cases better. So, this happens to be a Jackson National, which is a popular product that we see a lot. And basically the $200,000, and this is how the snapshot looks like. It tells us what the percentage of internal rate of return is based on the growth within that product, and exactly what your fees are as a percentage of that growth as well too. So circle the best time that makes sense for you. Remember, it wasn't raining when Noah built the ark. And we want to get there before it starts to rain. We want to create those memories for you. So you fill this out during your dinner. We'll come around. You can ask us any questions that you want. We'll collect these, and we'll swap out for a second opinion folder. Inside the second opinion folder is exactly what we talked about tonight, is in the workbook. We'll swap that out with you, and we'll schedule a time that fits for your convenience. And like I said, we can either come to you or you can come to our office. We're easy. I want to thank you for coming tonight. We want to appreciate your patience. And you're going to have a great steak or pork chop. Enjoy your meal. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask us. Thank you very much.